getting the goal line touches that he felt that he needed to get. That's not what Mark Ingram's been. Mark Ingram has been just a remarkable teammate and does everything about him so far. It was counter indicative of what we saw on the sideline at Arizona. So I think that we're seeing why the Saints have been inconsistent throughout the year. That we're seeing why when they are in a position to make something work, and to, just like the last 2 years before this, every time they've given us some hope, then we get stabbed and they twist the knife in it with some poor performances because emotionally they are, and psychologically they're inconsistent, and that bit of me seems to pop out at the wrong time. Let me compare this to New England. Would any one of these three cases happen in New England, which is the paragon of the way you're supposed to run an organization?
Right.
You don't hear any outbursts from players. You don't see it on the sideline, even though they've had some arguments now. And Tom Brady's been in the middle of some of those arguments before as well. But you don't see a Brandon Cooks. You don't see things about their coaches wanting to go other places or whatever. Just in stark contrast to the best team in the league and what an organization is supposed to be like. So I think it explains a lot about why the Saints have been inconsistent and have wasted some really good defensive efforts, especially against Detroit. And even though they couldn't get off the field, they forced them to kick field goals instead of scoring touchdowns. A great defensive effort against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Wasted two winning defensive efforts there. They could have put them, if not in playoff contention, solidly winning team, which this team needs to show it can be. So that could be the very thing that is keeping them from achieving that level.
Well, here's my question to you, Coach, and I know it's a little bit different than the high school side, right, as well as the college side. These guys are professionals. The coaches are professional. They're being paid as professionals. What is this indicative of? Is it a leadership problem we're having? Is it a leadership problem from the head coach and it's trickling down into the locker room with these guys? Or is it just frustration mounting because guys want bonuses? That's what people have alluded to about Mark Ingram and the young man Cooks. Or is it just these guys need to show up and show out and have their ESPN moments?
Boy, that is a great question. The thing about Mark Ingram and incentives did come up in discussions here in New Orleans, and the report was that he does not have incentives in his contract for scoring touchdowns. So perhaps it's not that so much. It very well can be, and maybe this comes in with Sean Payton's personality, because he's a flamboyant type of individual that has been, the last 3 years, really, all kinds of rumors are coming out about trying to enhance his image or his marketability, because there's no question that this latest business with Sean Payton is coming from his agent. Who else would it be coming from? Because who in the organization is going to even consider doing something with Sean Payton right now? I'm not certain if Tom Benson is in that situation to do that. Mickey Loomis certainly is not.
Right.
So that's got to be coming from his agent. So that attitude of having to try to market myself could trickle down.
Do you think that's the reason why he took over the play calling duties from Carmichael? Because everybody who knows football and seen football still was saying Carmichael calling the plays still look a whole lot better than Sean Payton calling the plays.
Certainly much more consistent. There's no, I don't think there's any doubt about that, other than the great job they did against the Rams. Payton has.
But it was the
been
Rams,
wildly
though.
inconsistent
It was the Rams
this year,
right?
And in world-class competition like the NFL is every week, you've got to have every little aspect covered, including the psychology of the game. And it is very difficult for an NFL head coach, even though there's some successes in that throughout the league. It's very difficult to spend all the time that you need to do to be absolutely up to speed in what your particular opponent is doing. And Sean Payton has had difficulty as a play caller against the style of defenses that both Detroit and Tampa Bay employed. And it goes all the way back really to the Indianapolis Super Bowl defense. You keep everything in front of you. You make the Saints check the ball down or be very accurate and short, because the Saints are not good at run after catch. And so keep everything in front of you. Make Breeze complete the short throw. Don't give him shots in the seam. Don't give him shots down the field, and tackle people and just limit their ability to get the ball down the field. And Payton has had trouble doing that. When you look back at Los Angeles, they don't do that. Mm-hmm. Los Angeles is a man-to-man pressure team. Arizona is, in fact, a man-to-man pressure team that tried to copy what the previous two opponents did and play softer and play more zone when that's not their personality. So vis-a-vis, they did not do it very well. And so Payton has been much more effective in calling plays against those styles of defense. I'm not certain if he got his feet back on the ground soon enough after the Los Angeles game to really do a job of getting the team prepared to play against Detroit. I think that he got a little too excited too long and didn't, like I say, get his feet back on the ground there. Against Tampa Bay, it was just a bad performance overall, and that certainly can be because the head coach is spending more time in developing his play calling and not paying enough attention to the team. There's a lot of things that he could be, because it's a type of thing that has so many variables in it. But in my mind right now, Carmichael is much more effective in calling games against the type of defense that you see against Detroit, that you saw against Tampa Bay, that you're going to see against Tampa Bay this week, than Sean Payton is. And Payton is much better against man-to-man pressure schemes.
Yeah, it doesn't bode well that he's taken over the play calling responsibilities. I know some people may disagree with me on this, but I just think right now in his career, and I've said this 3 years ago, people were saying, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I think he should be a head coach. Be the head coach that we need you to be. Tweak the plays from time to time, but do not think that you're going to still be effective calling the play, watching the play, then going back down and trying to decide which play you're going to call again. I don't see him being as effective as he once was, and that's what's concerning me. Now, Professor, you and I were talking a little bit earlier about the aspect of what you have seen with Brandon Cooks, as well as Mark Ingram. Let's just stay on this topic for a short time. Tell me, what are your thoughts here about these two guys and how they have come out to be very demonstrative on their feelings about wanting the ball, needing the ball, got to have the ball?
Well, number one, you have to look at the fact they're competitive. But I think one of the biggest derivatives that has happened with the evolution of football now is social media and branding. I hate to say it because the NFL is in with the CBA and everything else now. Everybody is, and kind of just piggybacking off what they say, everybody's about themselves, because at this point for Brandon Cooks next year is an option year with his contract. So his agent wants him to have leverage. Mark Ingram, I think they signed him for 2 years, maybe 3 years. And, I don't know what triggered what happened with Mark Ingram like that.
I know.
That is totally, unexpected of Mark Ingram. But the reality is that a lot of what is being pushed now is your brand name for your deals or whatever you have. And unfortunately, it's now, resulting in a negative effect on these players, at all levels. You see a lot of problems area, in terms of players, that may have come across that they think that they're selfish. They're only worried about their stats. And, it's one of those things that I, constantly tell people is that people now seem to be more focused on stats, and how they look versus it's I, when it should be we. And unfortunately, you've had two evidence of these matters, and I've stated this before, and I've stated this since 2012. You can always tell when the Saints are having locker room issues or some type of issues that may not have gone public, but sooner or later, as the season goes on, something is going to happen and something is going to be filled. And like Dad said, we've had 2 incidents and now really 3 with all of this trade talk of Payton and Cooks and all of this stuff. So now you have a bunch of confusion that has come out from the team players, and they've got to reel this in and get this stuff under control because it does not look good for the team. And it's just another example of you're inconsistent with your play, and now you're inconsistent with the handling of your image, your public relations, and your administration.
Okay, that's a lot to be said for. And I want to talk about what's happening with the team as a whole from the leadership standpoint. Coach, if you are, what you said to us is correct as far as Coach Payton's agent fueling the fire out there in social media, as well as with some of these national reporters about Sean Payton being able to entertain trade offers, or the Saints being able to entertain trade offers for Sean Payton. And it did look to me awfully suspect that he just immediately decided to take over the play calling duty. Maybe this is what they are wanting to do, to try to make himself more marketable. And then, like Professor said, these kids are saying to themselves, I got to make myself marketable as well. I don't know if I'm going to be here if I'm Mark Ingram. A lot of people in the Who Dat Nation love him some weeks, hate him other weeks. Why would he still want to be around that type of situation as a young player? I think he still has a lot of good talent that we could be able to utilize if Sean Payton gives him the football to do so. Let me get your take, Remy, on this whole complex situation, man. What are your thoughts?
I'm back and forth about it. What you talking more about? What, the Sean Payton issue, or
anything you want to talk about, Sean Payton or the players?
Well, the Sean Payton issue, I'm not really that concerned about. We go through this every year. We'll see how that plays out. It's just like Coach said. It's probably his agent putting it out there as a. Am I okay?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay. It's probably his agent putting it out there for a leverage or publicity reason or whatever. But I'm here. We're all hearing the whole thing about LA may be interested in him. It's a perfect home for him. I'm not giving it much thought at this particular time. We have 2 more games left, and after that, we'll see where that goes. As far as the players go, part of what they're doing, if it's part of their branding, I really don't have too much of a problem with the branding itself. The average career, you're lucky if you get 3 years in the NFL. So, the window is short, so you have to make what you can make while you're out there. But when it gets to the point where it hinders the team's